Hello, Mother. This is Half Mental, the show that's 90% baseball and the other half mental. I am the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And we are all Cody Bellinger.
Oh man, what a series. Cheers.
Whoa. Cool. This Zoom is not a perfect technology.
No, it's not. So we have our 2020 Corona Ball World Series.
And I think to the surprise of nearly everybody, it's the two best teams in baseball.
Yeah.
Which is actually really great. I mean,
it is cool.
We could have ended up with Brewers Astros.
Could have. Tampa Bay Rays and the Los Angeles Dodgers will be playing in the World Series starting tomorrow night. We are posting this on Monday night for what it's worth. Let's start in the American League. The Astros sure put up a fight.
Yeah, first time since 3 that a team came back from 3-0 and forced a Game 7. When the Red Sox did it to the Yankees and went on to win the World Series.
Won.
Yeah.
What was 08? What was I thinking? Oh, I think that's when maybe for the last time. That's the last time the Rays went to the World Series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was tempting to think it'd be sort of fun if the Astros made it, but just thank God they didn't. I don't know. It would have just been.
For me, it was fun to think like, well, what if it was just a rematch of 2017 and we swept them? But then the nightmare scenario would be, what if it was a rematch of 2017 and they won and they didn't have any business being in the playoffs to begin with?
Yeah.
Did you just fart?
No. I got a squeaky chair. I didn't think you'd hear it.
Totally heard it. You farted. Yeah, so it was I didn't watch as many of those games. Like I wasn't peeled. I wasn't like.
Your eyes were not peeled.
Right. But I followed it very closely. Carlos Correa stepped up big time. He did something in Game 6, I think, when kind of tempers flared. Did you see this?
I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, I think it's Velasquez struck someone out he's an Astros pitcher. Struck Diaz out on the Rays. Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't. He threw a breaking ball in the dirt and the pitcher was like, did he go or whatever? And Diaz was like, no. And then they started like talking shit a little bit, but the pitcher sort of like cowered away from it. And Correa ran in and like gave his pitcher like a pep talk. It was actually pretty cool. I hate Carlos Correa. So it was nice to see that there's like a little bit of a human soul inside of that gigantic, perfectly figured frame.
that beautiful.
God, can we talk about how big he is? We've talked about this before because you and I saw him play live. Yeah. And I remember thinking then, like, that guy does not belong out here. He looks like he's in a different league.
Yeah.
Altuve may have developed somewhat of the yips in that series as well. He was really having a hard time throwing to first base.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he followed, unless there was an error I'm not remembering, I think he had a pretty bad Game 5 and then hit the winning home run in Game 6, right?
Well, I mean, he hit really well.
Yeah.
That's not the yips I'm talking about. He was struggling with the throw to first. I mean, he had, I think, 3 errors in the series. It might have been more, but Gurriel, sorry, that's a hard one for me to say, bailed him out of what could have been a couple more errors.
Yeah.
And Gurriel, by the way, was terrible.
Yeah.
Which is, kind of interesting if you think about it
Uh,
for a while. You don't have to think about it that long. Just think about it.
just like any amount of time will provide some sort of insight.
Yeah.
We should talk about the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, that was my plan next. I just wanted to give some credit to the Astros for making it as far as they did with the
it was crazy.
Limited pitching staff. I think this is to not, for once, to not discredit the Astros at all. I think it's just like further proof that it's really just about who gets hot at the right time.
Yeah. And who is so hot right now but Randy Arozarena?
Oh my goodness.
Just the hottest.
I mean, maybe, yeah. Yeah, he's probably the hottest.
I did notice, I'm going to wrap up the Astros real quick. Their GM was already talking about how they're probably not going to sign George Springer.
Really?
Because the whole thing is they're basically have to just choose between Springer and Correa. And their GM already had like a bad quote like, well, you just have to evaluate the value you're getting versus the cost, And it's like, George Springer is everything for you. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a problem for the offseason, and we're not in the offseason yet.
I think too, I don't know. That's tough. The Rays are extremely impressive on the defensive side of the ball. Their pitching obviously is great. I knew that coming into this thing. But what I didn't realize is that their defense,
Manuel Margot had the pretty famous catch up against the wall in foul territory.
I feel like that was maybe a couple pitches into the ALCS too.
It feels like it was forever ago. Yeah.
It does. It was a real tone setter. Okay. And then they just continued to make unreal plays the rest of the series.
Yeah, Manuel Margot would be playing center field on 28 other teams probably or something like that. But they happen to have Kevin Kiermaier,
right,
who is all-world defensive center fielder as well.
Yeah, his diving catch, which was actually off Correa, I think, in a big RBI spot.
Okay.
He made a diving catch that was just sort of jaw-dropping. It looked like there was no possible way he could get there. And it was also one of those diving catches where I think he ran the same amount as he slid on his belly once he made the catch. He was running so fast. He was just
you had that momentum.
It was awesome. I wanted to I would say that what I'm unclear of with the Rays, and obviously they have played very well this postseason. They've won 2 elimination games. But their offense doesn't seem to be as potent as maybe even the Astros.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to be interesting is their offense has really been the Randy show, right? And outside of him, they've had pretty low amounts of production. I'm pretty sure I saw their team was hitting 160 outside of Randy Arozarena. And it's that they're living on him hitting home runs every time someone is on base in front of him.
Yeah.
And that just that can't happen forever, right?
Right. Well, really.
But it also only has to happen 4 more games.
Yeah. But if it's that, you would think that if he burns the Dodgers even once, then you just start walking him.
They're just
right?
going to give him the Barry Bonds treatment.
Yeah.
That would be pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I know that sort of sucks, but that's what I would do if he is. And I mean, that's where my like not watching the Rays super closely in this postseason is hurting me right now. But if he's that day, I know he has like 7 home runs in the postseason, which is pretty insane.
He has a chance at the all-time postseason home run record, or not home run record. I'm sorry, hits record. Do you know who holds that record? It's a pretty good. I saw it and I was like, oh, I actually knew that somewhere in my head. Is Pablo Sandoval.
Oh, really?
Had 26 postseason hits. I want to say in their 2014
Dang.
run.
I didn't realize that. That's crazy. That's a ton.
And Randy's at like 21 already, maybe something like that. So I mean, he would need like a good series and a long series, or a decent series and a long series.
Yeah.
He's got a good shot at it.
He'd need one Will Smith Game 5 game.
Yeah. The Rays do like their catcher is Mike Zunino, who is like interesting at least and has like
a lot of pop.
Like like Zunino can have a game, right? Where it's like, oh, that's the game where Mike Zunino beat us.
Yeah.
That could happen.
I watched game.
Not sure I'd bet on it, but
right. I watched Game 7 between the Astros and the Rays, and he parked one in that game.
Yeah.
I think he had a couple home runs in that series.
Yeah. He's there on a trade from Seattle.
Yeah.
As Tampa Bay and Seattle like to swap players a
Yeah.
lot.
Do you know who won the NLCS?
Hold on.
Oh.
We do need to. I mean, the Rays pitching is really good.
Yeah.
And what the Rays and Dodgers share, I think, is that like they have starting pitchers who they expect to give them good outings in the playoffs, which is increasingly rare, right? But they had 2 pitchers in, was it game 5 and 6, who were like furious to be taken out in the 4th and 5th innings. And potentially rightfully so. I mean, they've been pitching well. And I mean, Blake Snell won the Cy Young 2 years ago, right? And Charlie Morton is really good.
Yeah. Actually, Morton was taken out of Game 7.
Yeah, he was Game 7. You're right.
So and he had thrown like 60 pitches, and he was on a roll. He got the first 2 outs in that inning.
Yeah. Was Snell Game 6 then? I can't remember that now.
He must have been Game 6.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, that's going to be interesting. There are off days this series.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until today.
Yeah. Which is kind of nice. Like, it's going to let us see starting pitchers twice, definitely, on regular rest.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting. I mean, I'd love to see. I mean, it'd be great to have a Bueller Snell showdown where they each are just let go a little bit,
Right.
I don't know if it'll happen, but it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we talk about the NLCS?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Who won it? So that was a crazy series.
Yeah.
I was pretty convinced that the Dodgers were going to do their Dodger thing.
I think a lot of Braves fans probably were too.
Yeah. I mean,
I do feel pretty bad for Braves fans. We don't have to dwell on this because I'm sure you're not in that headspace.
Well, it's not that I feel like I feel bad for them. I've been living that nightmare for the last 7 years. But like, I will say this, like, I guess it stings more when it gets that far, but like it was after game 4 when the Braves went up 3-1.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I was like, we didn't even show up. Like,
Yeah.
this is not what made me so frustrated and sad and probably drive my wife absolutely insane. It's just like, we didn't even show up. Like, that's not this team. That's not what these guys are all about. Like, why does this always happen? And
Friday,
then
I went through this thing of being like, how do I talk to Holt about his like the Dodgers losing in 5 games?
Yeah.
Like, what sort of episode are we even going to record? Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what this is going to look like.
I think it was after game 4 was a real low point. And I was taking a shower that night, and it was late too. I was taking a shower at like 12:30 in the morning, which is weird.
A shower after the game?
Yeah.
That just sounds terrible.
Yeah, I was just so mad, and I like needed to calm down, so I took a hot shower, and and I was thinking about that. I was like, if this is how we go out, whoa, my throat just made a weird noise. This is how we go out, and then I've got to record this stupid show. I'm kidding.
Like, this show with this guy that I hate.
Don't even like him. But no, it was nice to see the Dodgers like really. I feel like Mookie Betts is worth every penny. I know that like he didn't do much offensively, but I think he had a lot to do with like the mentality. Obviously, defensively, you could argue that he did change the fate of a few games there. We played from behind. We won the 3 of the 4 games we won in that series. We were playing from behind.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I mean, they showed up. They like pushed back against a little bit of, not a little bit. I mean, like a legitimately, they were in an elimination game 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, Mookie is he's just perfect. I'm so glad he's on the Dodgers forever. Like,
yeah, it's so weird.
It's like the right team. It's the right city. He's the right guy. I don't know. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had 3 huge defensive plays. He had 2 catches at the wall that I think both legitimately robbed home runs, right?
Ozuna's
the one last night did.
Yeah, the one last night definitely did. Ozuna's I don't think was out, but it was on like an 8-foot wall or 10-foot wall or something, and it would have hit the top of the wall. It would have been an RBI for sure.
It was a great catch.
Insane catch. I think difficulty-wise, that was maybe the best one.
But I mean, then he had that like shoestring catch that he didn't dive on, so he could come up throwing.
That one was also just crazy, and the fact and like the presence of mind to not to know that he has to catch that ball on his feet
in a position to throw.
Yeah. And like
these guys are amazing.
Yeah, and the Braves played so well too. Like they really did. The Braves really impressed me. At one point, I was sitting there like, are the 2020 Braves the best baseball team I've ever seen? Because like they were just so good. Like,
is this the 1927 Yankees?
Yeah, they hit, like they cluster hit, if that's even a thing. But you know what I'm saying? They just like, if they get a base hit to lead off the inning, it felt like they're going to score 6 runs. But I don't know that I said this on the last show. I know that I said this to my poor wife, which actually, I'm going to cut myself off and tell a quick story. We were on a family walk the morning of Game 7. She's like, "Are you okay? You're like really quiet." And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like,
I just can't stop thinking about Dustin May.
She goes, "Are you thinking about the game?" And I like
started crying.
No, I like blacked out. Like I started talking and like realized, like I tried to play it off like I wasn't thinking about the game and just immediately gave her all these scenarios. I was like, if Dustin May pitches well, I say we give him 2. I was like, yeah, I guess I'm thinking about the game.
like maybe Christian Pache makes a great catch in center field, and that's okay. But
um, oh dang it, I did it. Now I forgot what I was gonna say before that.
yeah, I don't know. I don't remember where you were before your sidebar.
But I told Ann, like, if this, and it didn't feel like it was going to happen, but if this series goes 6 or 7 games, then I think we win it because, and I didn't feel that confident in this hypothesis, of course, last night or even in game 6, but like, we do just have crazy depth.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing, like, the Dodgers have uniquely positioned themselves to have like the perfect baseball players for specific scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you guys can start Jock Peterson against the right pitcher, and then when they put a reliever in, you just bring in Kike Hernandez, who's built to hit home runs against left-handers, right?
Yeah.
Like, and Jock is like the inverse of that. Like, that's just not a normal thing.
Right.
And I mean, I love that Hernandez was the guy up
Oh man, that was
in the 6th, right?
so awesome. I was actually gonna do a little. Oh, except the last time we did a screen share, the audio didn't work.
That's correct. Yeah.
So never mind. Did you see the post game interview with Kike where he?
I actually never watched it.
I'll send it to
I
you.
would love to. Yeah, because I'm sure it's great. I mean, he's great.
It's super funny, and he's a funny dude. He's a clubhouse guy.
My favorite tweet I saw today was, imagine how far he would have hit that ball if he still had his mustache.
Oh, that is good. I wonder why you like that.
I don't know.
We have to talk about a few more moments before we have a friend of the show coming on to give their World Series predictions tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to send a Zoom link here in a minute.
Real OGs will remember that this is our second guest ever on the show.
He's texting right now. Okay.
Okay.
So the probably, I think an at bat I will never forget, even though there's a couple really good ones in this series, but the Will Smith, and it just so happens to be the Will Smith on Will Smith moment.
Man, I will never tire of Will Smith jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, just never, ever. I hope he plays forever and I can make the jokes forever.
Well, have you watched that at bat yet?
Yeah. It's
was
great.
Incredible. He got 2 quick strikes on him. Then he took a couple pitches that were borderline. I mean, they definitely were balls, but they were close, like really tough pitches to take. Then one really far off the plate. And it was 2 outs. Like, I mean, it was a huge moment. Will Smith, the pitcher, had been shutting us down in this series up until this point.
Yeah.
And we were down. And then Will Smith for the Dodgers launches a 3-run home run. And his reaction was the coolest. And he's not a super emotional player. Like, it was awesome. Like, that was the moment where I was like, we are going to do this. Like, we're going to come back and win this thing. Really cool. Like, and that game 7 last night, like Bellinger's home run, Kike's home run.
I can't believe that Urias closed it out with 3 strong.
Yeah. So another cool thing is, like, with this Drillers Dodgers thing we have going on now, I have Corey Seager's autograph on a baseball. I have Julio Urias's autograph on a baseball. And those are the guys that, like, won us the national.
Gonna win. Yes.
They won us that series. It's like, it's just wild. It's
actually
awesome.
Almost put on my Tulsa Drillers hat for this because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a Bellinger Drillers jersey in my closet. Actually, I should have put that on.
Like, Bellinger, Dustin May, Julio Urias, Corey Seager, all
Yeah.
these guys.
I
Will
definitely
Smith,
remember and Dustin May was 2 years,
Walker
2 years
Bueller.
ago. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild.
And we haven't
It's
even
very
talked
cool.
about Bueller. I gotta send Gray this invite. We're gonna let I'm gonna let Gray sort of do his own intro, but this is Gray's Life, I believe, is his YouTube channel. He's been doing a few baseball shows lately. He's a friend of our son, and his baseball analysis are great. I recommend everyone checking it out. He also came up with the hashtag. He predicted at one point the Padres to play the Rays in the World Series, and he came up with the hashtag Padres, which I thought was great.
Odd Rays. Yeah.
And should be hopping on any minute now. But I think, Dan, if you're itching to say anything else about the Braves-Dodgers games, I really want to say that the Braves were awesome. Like,
yeah, I mean, I just feel so happy to be able to watch the kind of baseball that, and yes, I watched more of the Braves Dodgers. There's nothing against the Rays Astro series, but like it's just beautiful stuff happening.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you watch a baseball game with any sort of intent and are just not like, how does anybody hit a baseball? Like,
right.
It's impossible. But like it's crazy. Imagine, oh my God, you're wearing your Mudcats hat. God bless you, Gray.
Thank you.
How's it going, Gray?
I'm doing good. Thank
Good to see
you.
Man.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for joining
I got the
us.
Mudcats hat on.
Yeah, so
hey,
I was lucky enough to coach Gray for a season of Little League.
Oh,
And
sorry
he
about
was-
your Astros, Gray.
He was a Tulsa Mudcat.
Tulsa Mudcat, yes.
Gray, do you want to intro yourself? You want to tell us a little bit about your channel?
Yeah, sure. I'm Gray from Grey's Life. I do some videos on sports that you might know. I have a show called Gray's Picks that does a lot of sports videos. And so yeah, that's basically me. I'm an Astros fan, so devastating Game 7 loss.
Yeah,
but
that was rough.
That's okay.
All right, Gray. Well, I don't want to spoil your Gray's Pick World Series show, but we would love to hear your World Series pick.
All right, my World Series pick is the Tampa Bay Rays in 7 games.
Get off the show. I'm just kidding.
Gray, I don't know how much you've gone into our back episodes. Is this our 4th season, Holt? Is that right?
It is, actually.
I think it's our 4th.
Was 2017 the first one?
Yeah, and Holt and I have picked the Dodgers to win the World Series every single year.
Yeah,
I think
true.
I think that's true. Which is ridiculous, but so you're the first person on this show to ever not pick the Dodgers.
That feels good. That
yeah.
feels good.
That's good.
It's nice.
You need another perspective.
Here, this is why I'm picking the Rays to win the World Series. It's because of this one guy named Randy Arozarena, who absolutely killed the Astros. He has 7 home runs in the postseason, most by a rookie ever. Entered Game 7 of the Astros series with a .364 batting average and .782 slugging. So
yeah,
that is that's pretty rough.
Gray, what do you think about the Dodgers just walking him every time?
That might be a smart move, actually. that would actually be a pretty smart move.
That's kind of what I'm thinking we should do. Is just
maybe
take the bat out of his hands. As much as I'd like to see him play.
Right. Because he is a killer. I mean, he almost gets a hit every time he comes up to bat, it feels like.
Yeah. Gray, do you know where Randy came from?
Where did he come from?
Dan?
Randy,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, Holt.
St.
Uh,
St. Louis.
actually, yeah, Dusty Baker commented on this. Stupid Dusty Baker. Yeah, Randy was a St. Louis Cardinal prospect,
Yeah.
and we traded him to the Rays for Matthew Liberatore, who is still a very well thought of pitching prospect. And it all might work out, guys.
Yeah.
Nice.
The thing about the Rays is that they won't have a Rosarena next year because a Rosarena will ask for $100 million or more, and they won't give him $100 million or more.
No, they
Yeah,
won't.
that's a good point.
They won't.
That's basically the Rays system. They get a guy for 1 year, a low prospect, and then they get him out of there once he asks for money.
Yeah.
So that's always a good thing about the Rays. It's like every 5 or so years they're good, and then they suck for like 5 years. So.
All right. Well, Dan, do you want to go ahead and make your pick?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna. I've got the Rays winning some games. I think I've got the Dodgers in 6. That gives the Rays like, one game where a Rosarena ends up with like 5 RBI or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And then, not every game goes as planned. The Dodgers did do an interesting thing. They've announced Kershaw to start game 1 and Buehler to start game 3 without naming a game 2 starter.
I'm thinking it's gonna be Urias. I don't know how you pronounce that name. People pronounce it in different ways. I'm gonna say Urias.
Okay. So the important thing in my 4 years of hosting a baseball YouTube show, Ray, is just to commit to the pronunciation.
Yes.
Whether
commit.
It's so for me, I say Urias.
Urias.
I wouldn't.
Urias.
Urias. Dan's been pretty guilty of a lot of mispronunciations.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I say Urias as
well. My strong suit.
I guess Urias Gray is a good pick because he didn't really throw too many pitches last night.
Yeah, he didn't. So
I like that choice for 2. I'd take him to start game 2.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna look at the Rays pitching staff here because they look amazing, especially Charlie Morton. Just shut the Astros down. So you have Snell, you have Morton, you have this guy named Yarbrough. We don't even know him. He's not that great anyways. You have Glasnow, who's a killer.
Yeah, he's starting against Kershaw in game 1.
Yeah, Glasnow starting
That's
game
cool.
1.
That's a fun matchup.
Yeah, you have
Isn't Glasnow like 22?
Yeah.
Yeah, Glasnow was like 22, but he's like 6'8" or something. And
he's kind of a dreamboat too.
I was gonna say, good looking dude.
He's got everything going for him.
I know. And then we have Curtis, John Curtis. I think he's like a bullpen pitcher. I think that's like the bullpen game that they played against the Astros. So it's like it's not guaranteed that he's gonna pitch. And then Snell and Morton again if it went to a Game 7, but it would be like Glasnow and whoever.
Yeah. Yeah, their pitching is tough, and their bullpen is really good.
Yeah.
As far as I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, the Astros seem to deal with their bullpen in 4, 5, and 6, but that bullpen is amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be close, but I also have the Dodgers in 6 games. But if it does go to a 7 game, I might go because I have tickets, which is kind of crazy. But Gray, it's great to have some diversity and World Series picks for the first time
Yes.
on this.
Yes. Finally.
Also, Gray, are you an Oral Hershiser fan? Is that? I feel like I've heard that in the past.
That's kind of a thing. I do have an Oral Hershiser signed ball back over here on this shelf right here.
Cool.
This black one. It's up at the top though.
I went to like 3 Dodgers games last
Yeah.
summer or 2 summers ago, and I got this Oral Hershiser bobblehead. Oh no, you can't see it because of the green screen.
Whoa, look at that.
Do
That's
you want
cool.
it?
I would
With
love that.
your
That's
signed
awesome.
ball?
That's
Oh.
awesome.
Could be a little gift for coming on our show.
Hey, yeah, a little half
Wow.
mental souvenir. Right
Exactly.
there.
That's what we do to our guests, our first and only guests.
I know you have a lot of experience with guests.
Yes. Gray, well, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for #Padres. That was
Yeah, you're welcome.
really exciting. I know
Love a
why
good
the Padres
hashtag,
didn't
Gray.
advance, but
Yeah. Actually, I have a new one. I have a new hashtag. I'm going with a little hashtag Randy Arosa Rayna with RAY. That's just a thing that I came up with on the fly.
Yeah.
I like it.
But #Padres now I can only say hashtag. Sadly, it didn't work out, but it was a great hashtag for the time it lasted.
Yeah, definitely.
Randy Arozarena, I think it was in an Instagram story. He bought himself some cowboy boots.
The cowboy boots.
Going to Texas for the World Series.
That's funny.
So he's coming prepared.
I know. There was like a picture in the pregame of one of the, I think it was game 6 against the Astros, and he was like holding up his boots. And so he's like, we're going to win. And they didn't win that game, but they won.
Oh, I didn't catch that the boots have been a thing. I just saw
they've
it
been
today.
they've been a thing for
It's
a
an
little
ongoing.
bit.
All right, that's funny.
That is funny. Awesome, Gray. Thank you for joining us.
You're
Look forward
welcome.
to your. Are you going to put out a pick show for the World Series?
Maybe I haven't decided yet because the World Series is tomorrow. I don't.
Yeah.
Is it at night? Because I'll probably have time if.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's like a 7-10 or whatever.
Okay, then I'll probably be able to do it. We'll have to see,
Cool.
but I'll
right.
probably mash one together.
We'll look forward to that. Thanks for joining us, man.
You're welcome.
See you, Gray.
All right. Goodbye.
Well, what an absolute delight that was.
Yeah, that was awesome. I just accidentally put my computer to sleep at the very end there, so I couldn't see anything that was going on. And I had to type in my password to get it back up.
I hope our viewers enjoyed that as much as I did.
I know
that was great.
Best show yet. So there you have it, Gray. You know what his hashtag should be? #Grays.
Great. Go Rosarena.
No,
hold on. Never mind.
Wait, hang on a second. That wasn't nice or enjoyable. He picked the Rays.
I know.
I'm just kidding. That's fine. It is kind of fun to have someone that. Is it true that both of us have picked the Dodgers every year?
I think so.
So funny. What
I know.
Into for those you that do.
Hey, there was something I wanted to there was a topic I wanted to go over with you.
Okay.
Do we have a few more minutes, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't seen the thing pop up that says you have 10 minutes left.
Okay. So there's been a lot of talk of whether the Rays are underdogs in this series or not. Have you seen this?
No.
This is in baseball Twitter, which is the world in which I consume baseball. So, the Dodgers are heavily favored, Fangraphs, which runs all these simulations to predict outcomes, has them as a 67% chance to win the World Series. Also, you get the storyline of the Dodgers having whatever their salary is versus the Rays and all that stuff, right?
I've seen some interesting takes on that for sure.
Yeah. So, yes. And I want to get to that too. So, one of the things is like, are the Rays an underdog? Because the Rays have won tons of games the last few years. Like, are legit, like, they've been putting together like very competitive teams for years.
Right.
And also, we're in the World Series like 12 years ago, which isn't that bad.
Mm-mm.
I think some Braves fans would take that.
Shots
Hey
fired.
now. But so it's interesting. Like, I don't necessarily see this as like a David versus Goliath framing because the Rays are really good. Like, they're a good baseball team.
Right.
Do you have any thoughts on that off the top of your head?
I mean, I think that's probably because we follow baseball. I mean, I don't know what you're seeing on like Twitter, but like I think anyone that's followed baseball knows that the Rays were the second best team in baseball this year, you know, like with a winning percentage that in any other year would have absolutely netted them the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
So like I think, you know, obviously if you look at payrolls, you could play the David versus Goliath card for sure. But I think, like, kind of like you said at the beginning of the show, like what we're getting is like the two very best team, like it's like Goliath versus Goliath.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So that just fired me up.
I think this may be what you were referring to about the financial thing, is that depending on your view of the economics of baseball in general, which most people frankly don't think very hard about. But it's easy to think that like athletes make all this money and they're overpaid and they're playing a game and whatever. Like, and we've talked about before, like the athletes are the ones that they deserve this. I mean, the money is created by the game that they play, right? So like it would actually be detrimental to players for the Rays to win this World Series because it will like prove that you don't need to spend the kind of money the Dodgers are spending and that it's not worth it necessarily. But like it is like the Dodgers are more or less bulletproof, right? That doesn't mean they're going to win the series, but like everyone should want their team to spend like the Dodgers because it makes it really fun to be a fan, right? Like,
yeah.
And for those that are interested in the players getting compensated fairly for the wealth that their play creates instead of the billionaires getting more money. Like, we should be interested in the Dodgers winning and teams being like, well, shit, maybe we should sign somebody to a $360 million contract and see what happens. Yeah. You know, like, let's go find Mookie Betts.
Yeah. So
whether that looks like Randy Arozarena in a couple of years or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the talk I was seeing a lot of. It's like there's just a lot of tweets. A lot of people are going to be saying, just kind of brace for the payroll talk. But like, what's your point when you put something out there like the Braves payroll is this, the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw makes this, like,
yeah, more than all their starting 8 fielders combined.
So it's just really interesting to sort of like evaluate the point that you're trying to make there. And like, because sure, like, yeah, the Dodgers are paying their players a ton of money, but you could also kind of be like, ooh, the Rays are like grossly underpaying their players, like, which is
the Rays business
effective-
model is to pay their players as little as they can get away with.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers, I mean, I don't think anybody's concerned about whether the Dodgers are profitable or not, right? Like,
Right.
I think that I think the Dodgers owners are making enough money.
Yeah.
And probably feel like they're making enough money. So yeah, like it's better for the players to get the money.
Yeah. What I hadn't really thought about.
And
yet
there's
is-
there's no real argument against that, except like some sort of like weird jealousy that you're not a player or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I really hadn't thought about like, maybe the potential impact it could have if the Rays were to win.
Yeah, like on free agency and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
It's already going to be, I mean, I think
it's
this
going
is
to be a crazy free
yes.
agent class.
I think this is going to be a fun year for some off-season content for us because you have just like such a weird sample to base your, for anyone going into the free agent market, which is a lot of guys this year, a lot of big names, Corey Seager, one of them, who had a great year, but that's not the case for everyone. You know what I mean? Like you have guys who had this weird year, but it was like kind of not even half a year in a regular season.
Well, and even like teams are going to be able to be like, well, yeah, Corey, you had a great year, but it was just 60 games. Like we've seen lots of guys have a great 60 games. We need you to have a great 162 games, which you haven't done in 3 years or whatever his exact numbers are, you know?
Yeah. And hopefully his response to that is going to be this.
Yeah.
Bling, 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 bling.
Yeah. I mean, I'm concerned about players in general in the free agent market because I think teams have like multiple angles to get at them.
And I think like
it's going to be hard to argue with, sort of.
Right. I think the counter argument that you hear all the time with what you just said is people being like, oh, I could never feel sorry for these guys. They make so much money. Like, but the thing is, if they're not making it, someone else is.
Yeah.
Like, some suit is.
Exactly.
And you don't, who wants that? Like, and also these dudes, I don't know. I had gotten to sort of a heated argument with one of my best friends the other day about this season because, of course, now that we're getting down to it, he's like, well, I was pissed that the Dodgers were playing like shit. He's like, well, you don't want to win this in this fake year anyway, this fake World Series. But like, these guys have been through so much this year. Sure, there's going to be an asterisk by this World Series. You know,
I think we're all going to know what 2020 means in the future. Like,
yeah,
there's not going to be a question.
In a way, I feel like this is I'm not saying it's a bigger accomplishment or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying, but I almost like feel like this will be a super memorable year to win it. Yeah. Like in a year that's been so diluted by shit.
Can I real quick get did you see David Price's social media post today?
No.
He posted, I think it's his daughter, his young child, his baby child. I don't know. I think it was his daughter in a Dodger onesie. And it was like very supportive of the Dodgers. And it was like, love to see my team in the World Series. But he never actually played a game as a Dodger, right?
Well, he's on their group text.
Yeah. So, okay. But like, this is very interesting to me. He opted out, which, as we said in our preseason stuff, every player had the right to do, right?
Yeah.
But he apparently like is feeling pride and support and whatever for the team.
Well, he pitched a couple spring training games, so I wonder if he like I just wonder if he like got in tight with the guys or whatever. You know, he's got the history with Mookie. Because, you know, I guess I never really thought, is he not like, was that just a 1-year thing?
Yeah, I don't think he's under contract next year.
Yeah. Because Mookie wouldn't have been, and then we paid him a few bucks to stick around for a little bit.
And then also I saw like if he was playing for the Dodgers as a former Ray, it would have been a very interesting dynamic too.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a lot of Dodgers Rays connections. Andrew Friedman.
I hadn't thought of David Price all year, so
Yeah.
it was just interesting.
I really just thought of him because there's been a lot of talk since like the Dodgers went down 3-1 about this Dodgers group text and how like the group text, I guess some things were said is what Justin Turner's quote was. And then Justin Turner was talking about it in a post-game interview and mentioned that DP was in. I was like, DP? Oh, I was like, David Price. Kind of forgot that he was even a Dodger. Wouldn't mind having that arm around right now, but that's okay. I respect his decision.
Yeah. I mean, that was the other thing was like, you know who never starts Game 7 if David Price is around? Dustin May.
Yeah. But hey, scary start for Dustin May, but to get out of that inning with one run. Oof.
Well,
all right.
What do you think, man?
I guess that's it. Dodgers in 6 was going to be my guess before you said it. I'm not just copying you. Part of that is because I'm sort of scared to make the decision about actually going to that thing.
Yeah.
But I just think it's going to be a really interesting matchup. I mean, it's going to be, in my opinion, maybe I'm not giving the Rays enough credit on offense because obviously they're good. But I think it's going to be like, can our offense just overpower theirs, basically?
Yeah. You got to score more runs than the other team.
Yeah. As John Smoltz says, I think the team
Whoever
that puts the ball in
play
play the most will win the game. All right. Well, happy World Series.
Yeah.
Dodgers are back in it. Cheers.
Enjoy the baseball.
See you after the World Series, everybody. Oh, thank you, Grey, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks to Grey.
Later.
Bye.